This morning got shorty there. This morning got shorty there.
When my give gave you fast, you were a lazy locket. Ever skills, you let us kick it, drop it in the pocket. Boogie power one step the ball, but it's a job bucket. Kicking shot to tear the net so nobody can stop it. My give can make us see people running for pity and looking to form me. Drop on the score with the selling, some are ready to scatter the whole thing. Visit the market with bringing in something to send opposition and sales fee. So we hand over my defender, embarrass you as dominating the whole game.
Jenga sholidia, konga shondia, lega yata kwa, kuba mana iba kuna nenga tumoiba, we celebrating Mary making on the winning day. When you tell the boy, you tell me who can come for here. I said we taking over, the trophy coming over. Tell them the EAT is still want to forever here. We got the meaning, the men are getting confusing.
I keep it coming with fire, oh. This is men retire, oh. Boy, I got away with two yellow, oh. Papa go out, oh.
Jenga sholidia, this morning got sholidia. Jenga sholidia, this morning got sholidia.
We coming for give my thing, we coming with fire. We taking the lepe, we can't get tired. Our men are fear, we giving you a 4 goals. Fire in the upper room, we giving you a second move. One pastor, we giving a second move. Fedore, I give you Fedore. We're ready for it.
I give you that talk Bruno, so much I can pass it. We can beat it, then we summer stop. Anything they want to do, I know that stop. God tell me, I give you too wicked. In my Achilles, they ready to ready. Seku Sherry, they ready not do it.
I keep it coming with fire, oh. This is men retire, oh. Boy, I got away with two yellow, oh. Papa go out, oh.
Jenga sholidia, this morning got sholidia. Jenga sholidia, this morning got sholidia.
So, Bob Estela.
My GB boys and come with Holy Ghost fire. My GB girls and come with Holy Ghost power. When you slow up, GB will slow for. My GB boys and come with Holy Ghost fire. Muye GB muye my GB muye my GB ready oh. The man I know we're ready. I'm too ready oh. Bemfo Bana ready oh. Mama Ellie out ready oh. Tapo ready oh. Ava Jones ready oh. That cancer ready oh. Michelle with ready oh. Saki Femo ready oh. Seku Sherry ready oh. Jimmy PJ ready oh. Jeanette and Koba ready oh.
What I do say la padona don't have for your picking your no. Couldn't check out what they get in there for a while and party can go. Bringing the heat and the fire, straight for the money.
Hello. Okay, I guess you are getting me. We want to welcome you. Good evening. I'm Alfonso Zayn Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. You're wondering what you see in the background. Today is one of our own. As a matter of fact, yesterday was his birthday. But we have a tradition here, so we have to acknowledge his commitment to community in giving back. And I'm talking about Professor Acid Say Labort Zawolo. of here. He's a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Do me a favor, just invite, share it for some reasons. I'm not sure why I've been blocked for some time now by Facebook. Well, let me give you the music. You know, he's a sport guy. He loves Mangibi, so I'll try to do this here as a way to cheer him. All right.
Coming with fire.
Okay, Mangibi coming with fire, but let's do this here. That was yesterday was his birthday. We try to celebrate people that give back to the community. So, as he celebrated his birthday yesterday, I was so overcrowded. I should have done post, but it's better late than never. And I'm talking about Professor Ase Labozawolo. Why not we do this here? And please be nice to him here this evening.
To join the people where be no stay for this world before you come home.
Oh yeah, today his birthday, you know, good citizen must be celebrated. At LPR, this is what we try to do. We give recognition to when you are alive. Now when you are dead and stagnant in the coffin, which is served placed in the coffin is a national and public disgrace, and people die and they still go and gossip about them. So here we believe to celebrate the living.
I walk on fine, make you know they talk like, make a yes be yes, you know be no, then you go live well for this world. So God go bless you, give you long life, give you many birthdays again. So God go bless you, give you long life, give you many birthdays again. Say thanks to you, happy birthday to you. You go live long for this. Thanks to you, we beg God to give you many to you.
I want to say happy birthday to one of our own, someone who has devoted extraordinary time of being part of a community engagement. That is very, very much important, and we need to do that. We've got to learn to appreciate the regardless of their own political affiliation. But what is important, their positivity with society and community.
You go live long for this. Mama, yeah. Happy birthday to you.
Oh man, those days, Prince Nigo in Bodyguard, that his one of his films. Those you dancing, you put your hands on your stomach, put the hand on the back, you got to push the pants up. That's what the dancing. But now you try to do it to say you are old faction guy. I am Alfonso Zeensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for being part of today's talking point. I'm going to be giving a little monologue about this gentleman, how I got to know him, and how long we have come. Ase Zawolo is a community activist. As far as I'm concerned, a decent gentleman who believes strongly in giving back to community. It was pretty close to 7-8 years ago to try to keep the year specifically on top of my head, but age is also catching up with us, so we have to let some of those things go, those that we can remember so we can say it. I was privileged to serve as one of the chairpersons of the election commissions of the Unions of Liberian Associations in the USA. That's EULA. I served as one of the commissioners for 2 terms, actually 4 years. I was one of those that conducted the elections of Maryland area to the Washington, D.C. area, of which Professor Zawolo contested that leadership. I also conducted one of the elections that were held in Chicago That's the Unions of Liberian Association. Professor Zawlot participated in that elections, and something very strange, unusual. That's not a traditions in the community, in our Liberian community, when it comes to this organization participation. He participated in the elections. He lost the elections, and he conceded in a positive direction, and not just only conceded. All monies raised during his campaign on the day he made a concession speech, what did he do? He turned over that money, right, to the incoming administrations. How many say we count the millions of organizations in the diaspora? How many of them have done that before? Somebody could just type the name right there and let me know. That's the Cesaro. And I was wondering, as one of the commissioners, what is going through the head of this guy? What is he coming from on planet Earth? Is he 100% sample Liberian? Doubt raise in my mind, because I have not seen that happen. I'm not saying the elections have never been contested, even if they did not, if they did not even wage effective campaign, if their message did not even to resonate with the voters. All we are saying on the national and local scales, elections are always challenged, and the blame game is wildly being, and conspiracy is wildly being shared. That their defeat is because of someone being responsible. Professor Zawlot did not reject the result of the election. Upon the announcement by the head of our commission, the five-man team, he considered and acknowledged the result and opened up toward working with the incoming administration regardless and wherever he was called. And if he's not even called, he, Professor Zawlo, will always make himself available. That's the guy that I've been knowing. He demonstrated that interest, he demonstrated that nationalistic and a good citizenship. Because all he said in his word, it was not because of him, but it was for the association. So he acknowledged that result. And since then, I've been knowing Professor Zawlo. And then comes 2017 presidential elections. Professor Zawlo appeared multiple of times right here on the Liberia Public Radio. His views, opinions were expressed, which we allowed traditionally to all that is waiting to appear on this network. This was the argument then during the heat of the presidential race. That was in June when Professor Zawlo appeared on the Liberia Public Radio right here with me. We'll bring it into perspective, actuality, and you see it in real time. This is, as I said, Labo Zawlo.
Why I do agree that
just bear with us. That audio at the time we're going through a lot of stuff, and you're going to be hearing the or echo. That was I say Labo Zawlo right here on the Liberia Public Radio.
What is point or significant aspect of which this progress that is being made. So let's come back to this foundation here. I believe sometimes you're contemplating of getting extended outside of Monrovia, but let's get a sense of how many maybe institutions or to individual in terms of being beneficiary of your program as we speak.
Well, right now, 77 students at the Lpr-Tv High School that are direct beneficiaries of our program. We provide scholarships for them. We take care of the fees that the government asks them to pay. We assist to the extent possible with uniforms for some of the students.
Your foundation take care of that. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah. We do
pay for the fees that the government asks them to pay.
We
provide. Are you reimbursed by government or not?
No, it's my
service to my country.
Yeah, it's my service
to my country.
I've been blessed to have. I've been blessed to work with wonderful people in the United States. People who believe in things that I stand for. And those people have been very supportive of the work we do. Just to go, scholarship was
Okay, that was Professor Elsie Said Lakbota Izaulo. And then in 2017, we're going to give you the audio version. He also appeared on the Liberia Public Radio to articulate the view of now the ruling establishment. Let's listen to that. That was in September. Sorry, that was September 10, 2017, to when RCSA Labort appear on LPR.
Community-wise, we'll get to the substance of tonight's discussion. That we remember 2011, I was privileged to serve on the Election Commission of the Union of Liberian Association that was in Baltimore. You contested, correct?
Yes, I did contest in the election. I was actually in the Washington, D.C. area.
Yeah. All right. Are you still currently engaged with the functions of EULA as we speak today?
Well, I have been engaged with EULA. I'm a member of the local Liberian Community Association. I have been a member of the Liberian Community Association since that election until quite recently when I decided to focus my attention on education in Liberia. But up until about 6 months ago, I remain actively involved with EULA.
Okay. We are trying to set the ground rule here before we can get to the substance of our discussion. Believe me, we're going to go really into that. The EULA of yesterday, of 2011, was in a Bala counting room. Is that a EULA we still have today, Professor Zawulo?
You want to get me in trouble, I think. But I think one of the things we Liberians must learn to do is that we must learn to discuss honestly the issues that we face as a people, not with the hope of demeaning any individual, but with the hope of finding solutions to common problems we face. I think the EULA of today is not a EULA that I joined, that I work for. I think the EULA of today is not the EULA that the founding fathers of this organization thought about. I think the EULA of today has become more ceremonial. The EULA of today has not stood on the side of the people as it did in the past. So my hope and prayer is that the EULA we have today will wake up and begin to, be focused, redirect itself and energy in those things that for which this organization was created.
So the basis of the advocacy link, it seems to be that have diminished significantly.
All right. That was a little excerpts during my interview with Professor Isaac C. Labozawo. That was in September 3rd of 2017. He's deeply involved, and for the most part, he has been very consistent. And when we thought of bringing him here on Liberia Public Radio, he was very crystal clear in terms of expressing his views and his opinion. And that we must guarantee that we will not sanction his voice or his opinions or views that he will be expressing here. And we also accepted that in principle, making a full disclosure that he is in support of this ruling establishment or the CDC at the time. And we have all abided by that. Since then, RCSA Labort Zawlo has been here as one of our contributors of the Liberia Public Radio. We do respect his view. Do we agree with all? No. But we as an institution agree in principle that we will not micromanage his tone. We will not sanction his voice. We will allow him. However, we'll also ask all of the tough questions needed to answer for the good of our listening audience. And we have since been there. Beyond that, he is deeply involved. What I do know, his passion when it comes to education is unquestionable. He left here at his own volition, went to Liberia to prepare, to teach teachers, to the mentors of those who are providing services for the future of our country, to prepare them for the West African Examination Council, that is WIAC. Courtesy of RCC Labort, I own YouTube channels. We want to bring you this. I wouldn't just talk because we want to bring it into perspective so that you will see vividly for yourself.
Hello again, Professor.
So today I'm going to be going over the algebraic expression section of West African Examination Council Senior High School Certificate Examination Mathematics for Liberian Schools. On a subsection B, algebraic processes, I will be going over section H, algebraic fractions. First thing we're going to learn to do, the first objective we're going to address, will be performing operations on algebraic fractions with monomial denominators. So let's get some background information on what is an algebraic fraction and what makes it a fraction with a monomial denominator. So an algebraic fraction is a fraction containing variables. We can add, subtract, multiply, divide, or even just simplify algebraic fractions. Just like when we do fractions of whole numbers or fractions, we deal with in arithmetic. We have to find the least common denominator when we add and subtract. We have to cancel common factors when we multiply. And for division, we have to multiply by the reciprocal. All of those rules are going to be applicable to algebraic fractions. An algebraic fraction is in the simplest form when there is no common factors between the numerator and the denominator. And why do we call it a monomial denominator? Because the denominator has one term. So we're going to go over several problems. We're going to begin with problems involving division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction, and then we'll do problems that will put all of those concepts together. So let's see. So in problem number 1, we have to multiply these two algebraic fractions. They are algebraic fractions because they contain variables and they're fractions. So what we want to do is to use the law of indices as well as the laws of multiplying whole numbers to get our answers. So how does this work in this case? So we have 3x squared y over 20z times 5x to the 9th over y to the 4th, x to the 5th. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to restructure them like this. So I'm going to do 3. On top, I have the whole number 3 and 5 as a product. On the bottom, I just have 20. Then I see some x terms. On top, I have x squared and x to the 9th. And at the bottom, I have an x to the 5th. So I want to do it like this. Then I see terms, I see y's. I see the variable y. I have a y on top. And I can just put 1 to indicate it's the power of 1. And I see y to the 4th at the bottom. I see a z. Interestingly, I do not see a z as a numerator, but in the denominator, I see a z. So I can write it like this. So then I have to simplify this first fraction here, which is basically 15 over what? 20. And for here, I'm going to use the laws of exponents, so of indices. So to multiply two indices with the same base, I add the power. So the 9 plus 2 is going to give me 11. I have the 11x over 5. And the same thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to have y to the 1 over y to the 4th. And then I'm going to have 1 over z. So let's see. When I simplify 15 over 20, I can divide this by 5 and get a 3. Divide this by 5 and get a 4. So basically, for that part, I have a 3 over 4. And then I can subtract the powers over here, because this is division of indices. We subtract the powers. 11 minus 5 will be 6 is positive, so it stays up. That's positive 6. And then I have 1 minus 4, and that's going to be a negative 3. So for now, I'm going to put y minus 3. And then I have a z that is just down. There's no z up. I'm going to keep it like this. Now, you know that we have to write our result using only positive exponents. So we have to change the position of the negative exponent using the laws of negative exponents. We're going to bring that down. I'm sorry, x to the 6
x to the 6, and then I have y to the 3rd down, and z. Do that again. X to the 6 over 4y to the 3rd z. That's basically what we do. Okay, let's try another example. Now we have to divide. So we need to remember that when we divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So we have to change this to multiplication first. We do 81 over p q times the reciprocal, the second first, p 3rd over q over 27. And moving over to the right, we're going to do the same thing we did. So I see whole numbers. I have 81 on top and 27 at the bottom. I have p on top, which is p to the 3rd, and p to the 1st power at the bottom. Then I have q on top, and I have another q at the bottom. So clearly we see that the q's will cancel. 81 divided by 27 is 3. And then I have 3 minus 1 because I'm dividing. Yes, so it's going to be 3p squared. Simple, easy, basic. Let's move on. So we've done 2 problems, one on multiplying, another one on dividing. So basically, the only way we can add fractions is that the fraction must
Okay, that's Professor Ase Labota Izawulot demonstrating that he has his own foundation. This guy has devoted numerous times. This is why most of the time when he comes here, his focus has been on education to education. And so he's been one of us here at Liberia Public Radio, including you, regardless of his political affiliation, but his involvement with what is happening in Liberia in terms of preparing the future of tomorrow of Liberia. And yesterday was his birthday. We feel very much obliged that we acknowledge that the sacrifices, the contributors that you see on CNNs and this Benjo cable wire, they make thousands of dollars because of their expertise. We ask him, in fact, he volunteered to do that without dime. And for the most part, when there is an issue here, we ask for contribution. He gave without even questioning. So I think it is important that such people, we must get a good version to why we will or why people would disagree with them because of political affiliation. But we must also appreciate them, the good side of them. If we have maybe 5 or 6 of his Zaulo, I think the educational process in Liberia will be enhanced. And sometimes I wondered why, up to this point in time, this man who is so much passionate to see the education system in Liberia to be good, strong, and vibrant, I'm wondering why, up to this time, the very government that he supports, he has spoken up publicly, openly, on national and international cable wire about this government. I'm wondering why up to this time that he has not been incorporated. He said that because of his own principles and his unwillingness, in as much as he supports the government, to subscribe or to agree with policy, things that are not within line of his own ethical values for which he's not been accommodated. I'm wondering, I just do not know. But he's still Vivek and still clear of his position. So that shows his commitment to his country as well. As he celebrated his birthday, he actually celebrated his birthday yesterday, but we think it is important that we acknowledge that. All right, so let me bring in my guest here. We're going to be having an open conversation here. A civil rights, civil group organization now is calling for the removal of Councilor Tavani Sherman, who is the judiciary chair, senator from Cape Mount County. They are now calling on a committee, the Senate committee, to have him to remove as chair of the Judiciary Committee of the House of the Senate of the Republic of Liberia. So with this going beyond, there's some sort of transparency is in the place in the making in Liberia. Are we going to see more of a civil society involvement for good governance in Liberia, or is just something to get public or media attention with the hope that they are about to enforce or to allow good government to take place? Councilor Vanish Shema. So are we going to see how it plays out? We have tried to reach out to this group to get them to here at some point in time. Hopefully they will honor our invitation as well. To have you then here to get a much take on why they are coming up with this decision at this point in time. What is the reason now? We see them from time to time to hold government officials accountable. As you know, we have the code of conduct, and they, as a lawmakers, they are the ones to also enforce the law, and so they should not be exempted at all. So I think it's a welcoming step. We need to hold these people accountable, because we anticipate or we expect them to hold the executive branch of government accountable as well. But when they become violators, it leaves us with no hope that there will be a good accountability or any good sign of good governance in Liberia. My contributor, analyst, Mr. Amos George, is based in Atlanta, Georgia, is standing by right now. Let me just bring him in, and we're going to have a conversation here. We're going to open up here. So let me go right there to Georgia, to Atlanta City. And our senior contributor, Mr. Amos George. Okay, I love to call him Pa George. Is the independent guy, as he claimed, which is great. Pa George, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How you doing?
Good.
Hold on. That's some noise in the background.
Yeah, all right. Just take care of that. We know people do multiple things at the same time, so let me just get you off while you try to be situated, and I will get your take, and then we go right down to the wire to have this conversation ongoing here this evening, right here on LPR. Okay, let's see here what happened. Yeah, it's understandable. I got a trouble guy here too. Sometimes I can want to snatch him, but you can't do that. You do that, those children here. It's not like back home you can do it. You do that, they know the people to call, and you don't want to be called as a father to be involved in sort of abuse or some sort of violence. That's the last thing you really want to get yourself involved here. So sometimes we have to swallow those bitter pills and move on and just advise them. Okay, let me see here. Hopefully he's situated. Let me just bring in Mr. Amos George, of a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv based in Atlanta, Georgia. Here we go. Okay, Mr. George, good evening and welcome.
Yeah, how you doing, sir?
Okay. Again, you are no different from what Mr. Zavlo, Professor Zavlo, is doing. Actually, I saw that yesterday, that notification. Yesterday was his birthday, but I was just running a one crazy. I didn't even have a rest. I would go right back. So I didn't have a chance to do anything like a post to congratulate him. But yesterday was his birthday, and I just decided to go through this sort of to retrospect who he is and some of the things that he's involved with. He's a kind of quiet guy. He's not a kind of plenty talking person like some of us. But it's important that some of the things that they do in the community that is on the cloud, we unearth them to bring them out, so that people will also that they know their good versions, not necessarily their disagreement with them because of the political association.
Yes, and I didn't know that was yesterday was his birthday. I would have definitely called him, but I want to wish him a later birthday, and I hope he had a wonderful time yesterday. I mean, there's no question about it. He a decent person, you know. Yeah. That's just I can say about he a very decent person. I had not met him in person, but from our interaction on the screen, you can judge people. You don't have to meet people, but sometimes you interact with people, you get to sense the person, the way they think, the way they do things. And I would say, Professor Zawa, I've not met him in person, but he is a decent person. I can tell anybody for that.
Okay, let's see what our own guy here, senior contributor, Mr. Mason, is also joining here as usual. Mr. Mason, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. So. Good evening, Josh. How you doing today?
Hanging there, man.
All right, good. Yeah, I would just try to acknowledge the good work of our own Professor C. Labozaulo. I know sometimes we beat on him here, but hey, what you guys are doing, providing your expertise, is another form of giving back to the community. This is a work by itself, coming here 2, 3, 4 times a week to sit and talk for 2 hours. CNN, you see these guys, these analysts, they make good bucks, and we don't give you a dime because we don't have it. Instead, you give to us. And we just try to re-echo some of the involvement of Professor Zaulo. So what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, the brother has a birthday that was yesterday. I wish I knew. I would have at least posted on the page and tell him happy birthday. I mean, the brother has made a lot of vision, and I love Zaulo because he's very objective. He tries sometimes not to carry away by his feelings, but he's very, very objective. He will agree when there's a wrong. Sometimes he kind of do it subtly, but the brother is making a lot of contribution, especially I was watching his presentation today, and I really appreciate it. You know, it's good because to be in the sciences, and it's a tedious thing, especially in our country, Liberia. I taught chemistry for pretty much almost 10 years, where I do have my degree, and I'll tell the truth, it's tedious to teach a subject in our country. To see him teach math, I mean, his contribution to our country is welcoming, and I must applaud him for it. And he always come back with something very positive. Always think positive about the country. That's a good thing I love about him.
So this guy here, I will try to do it in his assumption when he wants to join. Of course, as always, welcome. Pajo, you most often ask this question: why such a man? What is responsible? Why the government that he has articulated, the government that he has supported from time to time, folks in him that were part of it, they walk away because of different reasons, which of course I can be the one to interpret. But while this guy, up to this point in time, he's not being incorporated.
Mr. So, I speculated last time. I just try to think outside the box. Professor Zawu is an engineer by profession. So there are places he doesn't have to go to the Ministry of Education. He did work with water and sewer before. Okay, they could say in there. But what I suspect or what I surmise here is that, and I will continue to say this, and I said to Professor Zhao the last time, Professor Zhao, you cannot fit in that system. There is a plan with Professor Zhao going into that system. Because what I figure out is that if you do go there, any area the same his attitude, his work ethics, people will not be able to meet up with those things. And he may want to change some things. And to do so, hell will roll, you will step on some people. And you know, so many people, they are little men, but they got connection outside of that agency or private. They might go and tell the boss man, they may say, you want to keep throwing us up. Where you got that man from? So I think those are some of the issues that Professor Zagro probably don't want to go into the system, because maybe I saw that he had told people, look, hey, If you want to give me a position, I have to be free. I have to be independent to do what is required in a ministerial agency by law. So if someone cannot do the job, I can't have them here. And that I said, it may not go well with the boss man. Because he might go to the boss man and say, look, sir, I understand, but this is how it should be done. And if we can't do it, then probably maybe I find it difficult to stay. And I think based maybe on his principles, those are some of the things that I see that they don't want to bring him in.
Okay, let me bring him missing here. Mr. Missing. Mr. Missing, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Any line of reasoning here in the argument by Mr. George?
George, because Prof. does an underlying philosophy, an underlying principle, and doesn't want to. He not want to compromise that principle because of affiliation. Now, given that he stands on his principle, he will support the ruling party. He will stand for no matter what, but he will not want to practice and steal his reputation. Given the position that I want to offer him, you see, it's one thing to support somebody, to support people, it's another to be brought in play where principle is going to be compromised. People don't like to have the full compromise. And if you are well grounded, and if you live by principle, you always try to put the principle because that's where your reputation lies. Then where your credibility comes into a question. So from interacting with him on the, I have not met him physically. I tell you, I'm praying God and wishing him. Maybe one day I'll tell you, look, I will give me a weekend. I'm going to fly over, say with you just for the weekend. I will come in here and leave Sunday just to interact and talk a lot. Trust me, this man has a principle. And I think based on that, he's not pushing himself into the government positions. He wants to get as far as he can and all that he can to support the government and give them his best advice, his best counsel to move the government into the proper position. And when that happens, most likely, yes, I see him at that time accepting a position. But until then, I think Prof. Zawul will enjoy helping the government as much as he can. That's why I see from him.
All right. I don't know what this audio always does that here, but we probably have to do something about it. Here is the guy here. Quickly before we get to our talking point here, but we just kind of like want to acknowledge everything here. And he made that crystal clear here when we ask and even to volunteer to be here. He say, "Are you sure, Alfonso? Are you sure, LPR family? Is this what you guys want me to do? Because I must be able to have the ability to speak my mind, to speak what I strongly believe, my view, my opinion. You can disagree, like what all of you guys, to voice out. And we say, yes, of course. But at the same time, we will also have the ability to question what you say because we are on an obligation as well to verify and validate whatever you are saying is true because we have audience, we have people that are listening to us. So we will also equally check everything that comes out of you every step of the way. And that was the deal. And since then, we have had this good relationship, like all of you guys, time taking. Right, here every evening, 2, 3, 4 times a week. That's a job. People come from work, you tired, but this is what we sign up for uh, to do. So I think we must actually acknowledge that. And what really that got me surprised here before we switch gear, just around I think around the election time, when students they were preparing for WIAC, uh, voluntarily he decided to go to Liberia to prepare teachers so that in time adequately they can get the students ready for the WIAC exam, to conduct training. And when he got to Morovia, I was understanding he never wanted to. He's kind of like cool guy. He's not like some of us pepper boy can talk crazy. This is the guy who left from here after talking with the Ministry of Education and everything. He left from here to go train teachers, pay his own way, everything. And then they charging him almost 50 or 2,000 or 1,500 plus. I mean, to use government facility, to train government. Come on. The guy left from here. He decided to go and help. I don't know at the end of the day he paid, but he said other people help. So that was just quite interesting. Emma George, can you do that? I'm not sure what I can do that.
Mr. So, this is what I'm saying. You see someone who is loyal to the country before the political institution. Professor Zawi is a true son of Liberia. How do you know? Look at the contribution he's making to the society. Then personally pay him money to go to Liberia. His party is in power. Even if it was not his party, he's going to impart knowledge to the youth of the country, free of charge. And you ask the man to pay money to use the public facilities. You think some other person will now walk back and shut the door and curse people and leave? Definitely will do it. But he did not complain. What he was supposed to do, he went and he did it and came back and still support that institution. The problem there is that people in that organization, they don't want to see people like Professor Zaulden in any space in that government. Because they figure that if this man come here, he may get closer to the president and his idea will start changing and maybe the president will not listen to us again. So the best thing we can do will push him away to stay away from this government. But with all that, every time he come on the show, he go on the international net, he try to portray the government as a vibrant institution that is doing everything in the weak way to provide services to the people. He don't come out to bash the government. What he do, he's protecting and presenting the image of the government. This is what we are doing. This is what they are trying to do. And these are the things that I'm trying to improve. These are some of the shortcomings. But we are working on this. You got that kind of person who is posting that message out there. Why it says that you cannot bring him in so he can help to promote or to project your positive image out there. But you got him on here. And let me say this. I know people sometimes, I bet you, maybe someone come and say, hey, if you want to join, you got to give me this money. If you can't give the one, then that's it. And how? I'm not saying happy home. I got no evidence. Please, before someone can say, I said, but I'm just speculating. Because why would you have this kind of qualified man that can immensely contribute immensely to not just your political party, but the country as a whole? And you still keeping him out there. And you still keeping him out there. What is the reason? What justification they can give that there's a reason we don't want to bring the man in, or we ain't got no place to put him? No justification. But if probably based on envy and jealousies, on his part of other people who are there, figure that this man is too qualified. You bring him in, his idea will not be in line with ours, and we will go ahead, look ahead with him.
Yeah.
And these are the things
I know that he try to be
this my nephew. So these are the things that I see as happening. But I hope CDC, not the president. Let me be very personal. The president of the Republic of Liberia, he talk. He talking about bringing people in to recalibrate. These one like Professor Zhao, those are the people he's supposed to bring in now. So when you talk about recalibrate, people look at him, his status, and say, okay, yeah, we see someone in there that we can count on that will make some changes. But they're leaving this man out. But yeah, Paul said he's not angry. He's not he's not resentful. He come out cool and calm and try to present this government as a government that's doing everything in a weak way to help Liberians. So what is the reason you got this man that you don't want to bring him in?
Okay, so let me go to Miss. Missing, are you there?
Okay. You know, I cannot interrupt the paper when he talks.
Yeah, I know, and I mean, this is a sort of civility that we also, and everybody knows the rule here. We give everybody a chance to have their day. Now, what is quite interesting here, all government, and not just only the CDC government, the issue of bringing people on board, government of inclusion, it is a difficult thing. These are things politicians always say. They will say, oh, when we get there, we'll do this, we'll go across. They don't go anywhere. They go right on their own feet. People that will agree with them. People that think I support or channel or strongly believes, or they will just say yes, yes. If Liberia is to be a vibrant nation, will we look at quality, or are we interested in quantity? Meaning, do we want capable people, people who will even stand up to say it when it requires saying no to the boss? No in a respectful context, no with the hope of doing what is right or what is good for the country. Are we going to see any of our political leaders or any future leaders who are willing to accommodate, to make that accommodation to form that sort of government inclusion? What as CPP comes tomorrow, will they go beyond their CPP enclave to say, we want this person? Maybe this other person from CDC is a good person, can be a viable person to the growth of this country. Will we ever see that happening in Liberia?
So I am to think not with the next regime, not with next elected regime, if not the CDC. I don't see that with the CP. And the reason is, if you listen to the people of CPP expressing themselves, they express themselves though there is not good for this regime, but this present executive. And when you do that, in my mind, you are telling Liberian people that you are not going to incorporate.
Mason, can you hello, Mason? Let me pull you out and come back. I'm not sure what's really going on. The audio is really breaking in. And let me pull you up and then come back and see. Let's or can you go up completely, because really I'm not getting the option on the side here. Can you go send the link to you? Come through that link. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Go up completely on the side. And let me just bring in Pa George here while we try to let me just get you Pa George.
Yeah.
I quite understand you were getting the questions I was saying here. Let me cross carpet that questions. Let me just cross that question over to you. Do you envisage that at any point in time, subsequent government, would they go out of their bags to find competent people to bring in government that will learn to say no, or we just looking about people, anything George tells me is yes, when you're even supposed to say no, is yes, because I want to secure my position?
That had always been the tendency of African leaders. They don't want to bring anybody outside that way, stand up to them, not in a disrespectful way, but just to say, look, sir, I understand, but this is not, I don't think it's right. They don't want it. And in Liberia, I'm not saying that. I think the moment you do it, make sure that you don't have a job again. And I think during the early time, I think the lady was finance minister. I think had some problem with her, and she left.
Yes, science.
So you can see those are the signs of these people that if anybody comes, they bring in somebody to work with them, they expect the person to just say yes or yes. The moment you say you question the decision, that means you are on your way out. And right now, I can see it. I can see it happening tomorrow, because
when you say you can see it tomorrow, what does that mean?
Because I don't, all these people who talk about presidency, you don't see them calling their own out. And if right now, if someone is in your midst and doing something, you can't speak about it, then the question I wonder, what happens if you are sent to the highest office? How will you confront these people? If you cannot discipline your own child, then how can you discipline someone out there? So, and these are some of the things. And let me just give you another example. What is playing out in Liberia today is the same thing. The former defense minister said something that his boss instructed him. Now, knowing that fund was not for the government to use, what happened if he would have told her, say, Madam, yes, with all respect, but we can't do this because it is not in our budget or preference to use this for this purpose. You think if he would have done that, will he find himself today in this kind of limbo he in today? No. And probably the boy would have told him, okay, give me a letter of resignation. What do? Probably give a letter of resignation and walk away. Then you have avoid yourself of that trouble and saving your family name. But because we have not been taught that way, to look into our bosses and say, sir or madam, yeah, I see what you say, but I don't think I can do that. That will jeopardize my career and my reputation. So probably I would suggest we do it another way. But we have not reached that point. That's why I'm saying even today or tomorrow, I don't foresee us doing it.
Before I reach it, we try his audio. I don't know. We have not reached that point. So, Mason, let me just come to you. Hopefully, everything is okay in your end now. Will we ever reach that point?
I mean, Mr. So, let me go back and look at our traditional history. If we go back to our tradition, we come to find out that nobody disagrees with the town chief in the town. And anything the town chief said, the council said, yes, everybody obey. Whether you disagree with it or not, you follow along suit.
You don't argue with old people. Saying you don't argue with old people, right?
Yeah. So this is the thing that is permeating in our modern society of democracy. This is what is giving a problem. This is what is eating up our fabric. Like Lpr say, Vanik would have resigned and tell the president no, and would have resigned. Somebody else would have stepped in the place and said yes to the president and done that thing. That person would not be running for senator today, so that issue would have come up. That issue would not have been something that would be doing that today. But the bottom of the whole thing is Can CDC, can CPD overstep this boundary? In my mind, in my purview, no. Because CPP is currently in their current state of mind. CPP thinks that they got all the professional people with all the right ideas, with the ability that more patriotic than whoever is in position today. And I disagree with that philosophy. I disagree with that philosophy. The Liberians who may not be in your party, who are more qualified than people who are within your party. When the Constitution talks about integration, it talks about bringing everybody in, getting everybody on the pace to work with the government. No matter whether you are a member of the ruling party or not, you have to come to support and work with the government. It's better to think. I prefer working with a person who will tell me you're not doing the right thing or this is not proper, than the work person who will always tell me you're doing the right thing, just keep going. Because tomorrow, when I land in water, that person will be saying, I should tell you, all that happened to the late President Samuel Kanyando. I don't this to happen to any other leader in the country. And I don't think CPP can ever meet. We are still looking for the leader who will pay over to accommodate everybody. Say, I'm the president for Liberia, I'm not the president for my political party and my ruling party. And that is where we are. There is where we are. I don't see that happening anytime soon, Mr. So. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Mason, I would differ with you on something you say here. Political parties are formed with people who have similar like-minded ideas, or what you call maybe ideologies. And for me, I'm a strong proponent of. I'm a strong proponent that if a ruling party, if any party wins, they should form the government. They do not have to bring opposition if they want to, fine. But it is not something that I hear all process to unify the country. No. I mean, civil servants are people that you don't touch. Who are we talking about? We are talking about ministers, deputy minister, assistant minister, director. Those are the people we're talking about. So if a political party organize a campaign and win an election in a country, they can bring whoever they want to bring. But it's not something that we should use to say you got to bring other people from the opposition to be in your government. It's a matter of choice. Maybe they can bring one person or 2 people whom maybe the president of that institute, organization feel that, or maybe I know the person they are competent and capable, they will bring them. Okay, it happened here, but you cannot bring all the opposition into the government. It's not a coalition government. That's why I see the CDC want to form an alliance with other political parties. And the one that
Mr. George, yeah. My assertion is not that you're bringing everybody from the opposition. My assertion is that you are bringing people who are qualified. You see, when we go to person, when you say political party, government, I agree, 100%. If we're establishing our government on our perception that our parties are qualified, then we are on the mark. We are talking about a country, not a party. You can't elect a ruling party. You are ruling a country. You are not ruling a party. You are ruling a country. You look in the country for the best. It's like you are the okay. Use the common thing. You are the coach of the Liberian star, and because you manage or you coach IE, do you all the players from IE? No. You are looking for the best to make a strong team, to make a successful team.
Okay, let me serve as a match. Yeah, let me serve as a match commissioner here, because this seems to suggest and bring to mind of a different thing here, and we're going to be opening the lines here to talk to our audience here as well for them to participate. Because I think as we move forward, or as we gradually get into 2023, based on our past experience, we must begin to have these sort of authentic and genuine conversations about the future of our country. In terms of these political parties, these multitudes of parties, people that want to hold state power, are they prepared? Are they adequately prepared in terms of establishing good governance? What am I asking this question? Okay, like we saw here in the U.S., soon it was announced that Biden, or prior to that, when they began to get the green light, the possibility of them winning the election, with names began to surface a specific position, high profile positions of characters or people that are going to put forward. They never wasted no time. They had those people standing ready to go. We don't see that happening in our country. It takes time. The media, the public, people will speculate and speculate and speculate. It's difficult for them to occupy a position. And like what you said, we saw the size of government being devil, because, and I'm afraid that will even happen if the group calling itself or the collaborative party, because all of these thousands and thousands of people that are following them, what are they taking into consideration in terms of what they're going to get in return? I listened to this young lady here, and she talks a lot of things that make sense. People, revolution, when you're going through a revolution, a change of revolution, not necessarily gun battle, sacrifices are involved. There's nothing there that, okay, this is what you're going to get at the end of the day. Nothing is written in stone. But there's something in the inner part of these people's mind that they'll have to get something, and the leaders want to satisfy them. As the result, the civil servant is being tampered with. The size of government has been heavily increased because they want to appease these people. That's the challenge. What happens today, for discussion purposes, if the collaborative party right now of 4 political parties put together with their supporters, sympathizers, people who have done a lot, given their last penny, these people they will want to be accommodated. Can any of these people, if they become leader, would they look in your eyes, even though you pay all your dues, you participated in all of the protests, and you were water piano, you did this happened to you? Can I look at these people, even if if they shouldn't be, if they are not qualified or competent to occupy a position? Do you think they can let them go? Absolutely not. That's the challenge. Do these people have the guts to do that?
And that's why I am saying, because right now what we're seeing, we're not seeing a leader within the CPP. Because once there's a leader to spearhead our organization in terms of presidential candidate and vice presidential, then you see policy will start shifting. Then people now can start to evaluate these people. But here's the thing, Mr. Toole. All the thousands of people that are turned up, only a few handful of people will have a job. And history has always said it. Look at CDC. The thousands of people that used to turn up, how many did they work in? Only the people who are in that circle. That's it. Today, you got someone that's still walking up and they say, "Mama, I can't find something to do. Time hard." And here's the thing I say.
So then let me hold you right there. I hate to interrupt, but making that sort of analogy, is it that they were doing it for a reward, or are they doing it because they feel that the system wasn't right, and so they wanted to have a system change? So on what basis? How can you reconcile that?
Now, here's the thing here. Many people you see that come out there, they are not doing some of that. Many of them are not doing it to get a job directly. They are doing it that with the intent or belief that when the people succeed, they will formulate policy. They will introduce policy that in turn will trickle down, that they will be beneficial of the policy that they will institute. But on the contrary, they always disappoint these people that support us. So that way you see that people now don't turn to trust political leaders. Because when they are not in position, they tell these people, oh, look, we'll do this for you. You'll do that, you'll have time to go to school. You'll have this training. You'll be prepared for the future. But by the time they ascend to the highest office, all the policies drift away. Now the thousands of people that were out there now start becoming frustrated. They can't see this leader again that they used to sit down and talk with. They don't see them again. They become very far on this one. They are unreachable now by then. So this is the thing that we as someone continue to say. The mentality of our people, we have to change our mentality. Because the institution can only absorb few number of people. And when they take those number of people, nothing else they can do. You can, today, I saw Capitol building. What they said, police officer, immigration people, teachers. They just come, they say, next week you'll be retired. How the man is retiring? No package. Then they say, but if you are retiring all these people, the welfare should not be high at this. Then someone said, but when they say they retire people, then they go, they bring their friend in or relative in. So you see the system. Yeah. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, now the people see they don't have enough police, they don't have enough soldiers, they don't have enough immigration. All these people, they say they are lacking of manpower. But then what happened to all the numbers that they were supposed to get at a certain time? Then they say, oh, there's a INF regulation, you can't pass this mark. But if you keep talking about that, how do you retire people? And if you retire people, what is the policy that you have in place to recruit and place people that you are retiring? Like the last time I heard, I think the Minister of Health, saying that I don't know how many, I think I know 50 or some doctors are going to be retired. That means so. Like we don't have medical doctor already. Then you say you're going to retire doctors? Eh? Can you imagine that? Or what? Maybe what is the ratio? I will check it. But maybe over 3,000 to 4,000 people to one medical doctor.
Let me cut the deal here and bring in Mason here. Mason, based on Pastor George assertions and things that we are hearing so far, what is the alternative? The oppositions are the ones that are looking to get state power. The government, we already judging them, we're seeing what they are doing. Is this sort of conversation, is it being talked about? Are we keeping this conversation well enough? Is the Liberian people proportionally asking the opposition or asking the government to talk on some of these critical issues? In fact, since they want to see themselves as an alternative to what is ongoing now, the leaders, even though we do not know who's going to be on top of the ticket, but we are assuming that the traditions of our political institutions, those who think they are head of the party, they necessarily feel they should be on top. Are they having this conversation? Are there people asking these tough questions? Are the Liberians themselves have interest to ask these people questions, or they are just interested for their people, their leaders, to tell them what they want to hear? Are we keeping that conversation?
I think our conversation brings out light to the people, to the requisite question. And the reason I think that is because we are bringing out that our people are not thinking about. When Mr. George says that look at people are they're retiring doctors, when he speaks of the different processes that are going on, firing and removing teachers, retiring teachers and hiring friends, all these things bring back to memory that the people need to start looking and thinking into a different perspective. When you speak of a government, You're speaking of a government that is not looking and is not troubled by people of different ideology, but troubled with people of contra ideology. Now, there's a difference between different ideology and contra ideology. Somebody who is going away from your ideology and somebody who has a different approach with your ideology, there's two different things. Now, let's consider that we are giving people the right reason to question the government. When you come into, and we elect you, what are you going to do? How are you going to form your government? Is your government only going to be of CPP? Are you going to look at people from within CPP? And remember, CPP have 4 political parties. Each of those political parties, the leaders think that they are the right person to lead Liberia, first and foremost. They think that each of those political leaders think that they got all the requisite professionals within their party. So obviously, when any one of them head the government and is elected to position, they will start to look at the people in their party before come across to other people in a different party. You see how CDC is ruling. CDC is a coalition. And it's happening with CDC. And think of what is going to happen with CPP. That's why I say we need to move away. We need to move away from the idea of a leader of a political party. I'm a leader of a republic. And I'm looking for people from this republic who have the requisite qualification, the requisite experience, the requisite innovation to blend and government power and move this country forward. That's my thing, and I don't see any of the. I don't see it in the CPP because right now each person in the CPP is pushing for their own political leader, and I don't see it in the CDC because the CDC right now is telling us how they're going to run. And that's how they're running.
So then, Pa George, are we on the wagons of the governing party today? Is that a sin to wagon potentially going to be the opposition? So what are we changing from, and what are we going to?
No. Yes, my take on that. But I want to go back to let me go back a little bit. You asking one of the questions, well, how do we do this thing here? How do we question these people? And this is where the civil society coming in Liberia. Because I expect the press club and other civil organizations in Liberia to start organizing something like a symposium or a conference, some form of meeting to call people to maybe a dinner to speak. These opposition leaders, call them, that invite them to come speak on this topic. How they think they can move the country forward. Because when you do this thing, that's how people form an opinion about people. But they're sitting and they're not doing anything, and the election and then we'll start about debate. No. Organize a workshop or symposium or some conference, invite 1 or 2 political leaders from the opposition and say, look, we want you to come and speak on governance, how you going to rule if you ascend to power, and let the people come and put out something to you. Based on the thing that you can start formulating your idea how this person is going to rule. But none of them doing it. And that's the job of the civil society. You talk about good government council, you talk about the press or the press union, you got all the trillions of organizations in Monrovia. Why they don't organize programs to invite these different political leaders to come and speak to tell the people where they will take the country if they get power? Because when you start talking, people now can figure out the direction why if the person becomes president, where they want to take the country.
Okay. Let me just interrupt you quickly here to bring the man of the hour. We say he is present. We got to say it. He's here. He's a community activist. He's giving back to the community. It's better late than never. Folks, put your hands together. We must say a happy, happy belated birthday.
go join the people wey be don stay for this world before you go.
Okay. Okay, let's get the program going. Professor, we want to say on behalf of the management staff of the Liberia Public Radio in the USA, in Liberia, our contributors, man, believe me, if I tell you, say I did not get that notification to yesterday, then that would be the greatest deceit. But their country here, when it catch up with you, man, you want run back. I called my mama name yesterday, and before it was just crazy. No justification of that. But I want to say happy belated birthday. We want to appreciate you, everything that you do on a voluntary basis, be it on Liberia Public Radio, Liberia, your commitment to your country, especially the investment in the educational program to mold the minds of the young generation is unquestionable. I want to thank you so much. We say happy belated birthday. What you ate yesterday? You bought birthday food?
You know, my wife is from the Mandingo tribe, and one of the delicacies is Wolof. You know Wolof?
Oh yeah. The other guy in the African store was one kind of woman.
I got zero problem with you. You didn't send me. You coming for that kind of celebration?
It will be the next time. I forget.
I mean, what?
You ate Wolof yesterday?
I know. Yeah.
You get a garden, or where you talking from? Like from Mangibi or from?
Like I said, you know, one of the things that you guys will find out that's one of the blessings I have when you are married to a Mandingo woman. You're married to so many women. So all of my wives, as they call themselves, they did me with food. You know, they just send those stuff here for me, send it here for us. So yeah, they really take good care of us. You know, my wife is one out of 26. So her father had 26 children.
Wow.
So he had like I think 12 or 10 girls in that group. So I have all of them consider themselves my wives, and they treat me like a real husband. So they always send my Wolof and all those things they know that I like. They send them on a frequent basis. Yeah, but so I know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. No, you are welcome anytime. We're gonna plan and find a way for all of us to settle one of these days somewhere that we can all sit, you know, and spend some time with each other. Right. Yeah. So I wanted to. I don't know what was the discussion. I just wanted to, you know, one of the things. There's something that has been happening to me. I've been very ashamed about it. But you know, one of the strengths about American society is the people's ability to bring issues that affect them to public, so that I can help them heal personally, and also help them. Thank you very much, Alex, and also help others who are in the same situation, you know, to deal with problems, and also to address some of the problems in our society. You know, I was born in Maternity Center Hospital in Liberia. And at the time I was born, they had a very functioning system wherein births were recorded in a big ledger. They would write down the date of birth into the ledger. And so usually in Liberia, we don't go to get our birth certificate or passport unless we are about to travel. So in 1988, I was about to travel to the former USSR. And so I went to visit the Bureau of Birth Registry and rest of it to get my birth certificate. And I filled up the form and put my birth date on it. And I went to pick up my birth certificate. They had a different birth date on it. They had February 9th on it instead of February 8th, which my parents had always told me that I was born on. I was born on the 8th. And there were too many reasons why my parents could not miss the day. Interestingly, my mother and her mother were both expecting. So my uncle was born on the 7th, and I was born on the 8th. So my grandmother knows about my birth. My dad knows about it. My mom knows about it. But here's the thing I wanted to bring the issue about. It's the issue about people not working, people in government offices not working. What happened was that the person who was on duty did not record my birth on the day I was born. So he recorded my birth on the 9th. Yeah. And so because I was able to raise the concern, and the people brought the original ledger, and I was able to see my birth register in it with other people who were born, you know, around that same area. It was just amazing. But that's the problem we have in our society. You know, when you are supposed to do something today, you don't do it, you delay it. So what it does sometimes, it can damage people. I was denied admission to the university in the USSR because of that. I had to come back, and thanks to the people at the University of Liberia who were able to redo my ledger, my transcript, to change my birthday from the 8th to the 9th. That's the only way I would have been accepted. At that time, the KGB wouldn't allow you to go to the country with such discrepancy in your birthday one day.
Right.
So, you know, this is a problem, you know, and when I think about it, for years, my family members always confused about my birthday since 1988. Some family members celebrate the 8th, some celebrate the 9th. And I've always been keeping it personally, you know, but I wanted to just raise that issue to the public to let them know, you know, the importance of doing your job when you are giving the tax. Because when you don't do it, it affects people. That's how the mailing system in Liberia collapsed. The people will not sort the mail and put it and send it out. So they will keep the mail today, keep it tomorrow, and then they pile up. And then what do they do at the end of the day? They throw it away. The personnel action notice form in Liberia, that is when a person is hired by government, you raise the pen, and then the person name goes on the payroll. At the old budget bureau, you will have it stacked like this. Because when it came yesterday, the guy did not do anything about it. The next one came in for him to, you know, process, he did not process it. So after like 6 months, you get a whole stack. So those days when you were hired, I worked for government of Liberia as a teacher. And for the 2 or 3 years I worked for them prior to leaving Liberia, I was receiving pay in the name of Janet Ray because my name could not go on the payroll. So whenever they announced Janet Ray, I would have to raise my hand, and the government gave me an ID card and a letter that says that Isaac Zawolo is Janet Ray. I mean, these are real problems in our society that I hope people out there can listen and hear and get serious about doing the work they are supposed to be doing to avoid all of these problems. Thank you very much for giving me the chance to talk about it.
Yeah, Professor, let me expand on that. And this is why we always like to have these sort of extraordinary and touching conversation here. And that's the same thing I was talking. I started following your activities. I was just giving in my monologue 2011. You remember in your own city of Baltimore, I served as one of the commissioners of the Union of Liberian Association. And I've never seen that before. Someone who participated in the election did not question the credibility of the election commissioner, did not throw any blame game. You're responsible for my defeat. The money you raised for your campaign, to the leftover, you took it and gave it to the incoming administration. That was eye-catching. That was it was extraordinary for me. The why you just provided seems to be like burning with aim, and you decide to get it off. Why?
Well, because you see, I think this is a lesson of people not performing the work that they are supposed to do in the time that they are supposed to do it. You know, I used to work with a German expatriate at Water and Sewer, and he always talk about efficiency. He says work per time. And when you look at the efficiency of many of our Liberian governmental agencies, the efficiency is so low. People just don't work within the time frame. So things that are supposed to be done for today, we leave it for tomorrow. And so when I started to put everything into connection, when I started to connect everything, I said, look, maybe I need to bring this up so that somebody who's sitting in the government office, not trying to work, will wake up and understand that their inaction can have some serious life consequences for people. I'll be honest with you. My mom and my dad, sometimes they argue about this thing. My mom blames my dad for it. My dad blames my mom. And, you know, I tell my mom yesterday, my sister, I told her, I said, listen, my dad is not responsible. Mom, you're not responsible. It's just a failure of the system. But just think about it, because that person did not do the job that day. So families are having arguments. There's tension. I'll tell you the truth. When it happened, when I went there and I was told I was born the 9th, it's like my existence I began to question my own existence. Now I can talk about it freely. It was painful for me.
So, you know, we're talking about your absent full control. The entire show, I come in 1 second, missing. This entire show here today is in honor of you. We don't want to have, for us here at LPR, we don't believe in an obituary exhibition. When people alive, that's when you celebrate, and that's why this billboard you see here, like this. And Pa George talk on that. You're here. Let me get the cat out of the bag. You are engineer, you are teacher, you believe in statistics because that's your area. With all of this sort of systematic approach in reality, in the governance, what thing do, my brother? Let me put it down into Creole. What thing do? They are from that Liberia. The government. Why? What are they waiting for? What? I don't understand. I don't get it.
To do what?
There you go. He's coming to pivot from this whole thing here.
Look, let me be very honest with you, and let me see. I don't like to talk about it because there are a lot of people out there who think that, there's somebody here who's hungry for a job.
No, let me tell you, I don't care for these Liberian people. All of them looking for a job.
Look, I'll be very honest with you. The president, those people responsible for appointing, have engaged me, fully. There have been offers, and there are also things in the works that I am part of the problem. I'm the first of 13 children my dad. I'm the first boy of 13 children my dad has. I'm the anchor for most of my siblings, my other family members, and all of those stuff. So it's not an easy decision to make. I'll be very honest with you. If I were to leave from here, go to Liberia, and say I'm going there for a job, within a matter of 3 to 4, 5 days, I'll get appointed. But I have to wonder also. So I don't think the blame should be placed on the government. I think the president and those who are responsible for appointing have been very respectful to me. I must admit, they've been very respectful to me. And they've considered me on numerous occasions, if I can say that.
And you turned it down?
Well, I wouldn't want to go into all of those details. But I would say that, what I would say is that...
Are you not prepared to go now?
But no, what I would say is that the government of Liberia the people responsible for appointing will very much appreciate me being involved in Liberia at some level.
Wow.
Professor, let me ask you this question.
This is a
yes,
Mr. So Professor Zawulu is a model saint. All that you heard Professor Zawulu say, listen keenly to him. If you listen keenly to the professor, you understand. I'm not going to say what he said, but you know what he said without saying it. Without saying it, the is modest. And with all due respect, no matter what question you ask Professor Zawulu today concerning his preferment for any, it's going to boil down to him letting you know that he is the problem. And until it's off air, one-on-one with Professor Zawulu, like I said before, you will not get out of him.
All right.
And you will not. Professor Zawulu, we all know.
Nah.
Mr. George.
Yes.
I guess you wanted to say something.
So yes, I just wanted to ask Professor Zawulu. So the government has about first and 3 more years.
Mm-hmm.
At what point in time would you be willing now to go to help to serve Liberia, or you just have made up your mind that I would prefer to be out there and give my advice and give my counsel to the government? Is that what you decide to do now?
No. Here's what I was saying. We live in a flux. The calculus of life does not allow us to make declaration of such nature that I'm going to stay here or I'm going to go there. I have to be responsive. I have to be responsive to the changing dynamics around me. And as the things are evolving, I'm also evolving. My thought process is evolving, and we're getting closer to making a splash.
So then,
okay,
I come to this point that what I have been saying, it like you are waiting for something to be done before you can go in, or you are asked, "Look, I want to come, but this is what I have on my plate.
No,
Will you allow me to do this?"
First of all, listen to me. I'm one of those seditionists who have repeatedly told people who have questioned the president's appointment of other people. I said, if I believe the president has the smartness, the brain to appoint me, then I think he also uses that same brain to appoint other people. So I would never, ever, I don't question in general the president's preferment of individuals. There might be one or two individuals that I've been very outspoken about. I'm saying when I joined the CDC, I didn't anticipate that this president would be part of our CDC government. But still, I don't question the president's judgment. So I won't want to set a condition for the president. Say, look, if you appoint me, I have to do this. Otherwise, I won't take the job. I won't be that disrespectful to him. Look, I revere the president. He's a good man. He's a man who has a lot of respect for me, and I have a lot of respect for him. Very mutual. The president and I met in Europe when he was playing in his soccer days, and on several occasions. And he showed his generosity towards us. And many times, whenever we meet, he brings back those stories and he talks about it. And he shared the respect he had. He always conveyed the respect he had for me. So I would never go before the president and set conditions for him.
okay.
If he calls me, we can have some discussion. We have two men, and then we can, discuss on how we can move forward. And I think that's what we've been doing. We've been discussing and thinking about how we move forward.
Forget it. I have twisted all the questions upside down. Not if from things. So we be on this thing here. It's not gonna hash anything here tonight. Let me go to this caller here. Caller, good evening. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to my good people in the studio. I'll be talking on two things for now. I want to say happy belated birthday to the 12th.
Thank you.
I just want to just express how I really admire what I saw this evening on Lpr. When anybody in their comfort zone, they are always amazing. When I saw a little demonstration of the crop during the wire or something on the studio, I was shocked. Yeah, you never talk, and I really used to be wondering, what does this guy do? And he called himself all the time. I don't know that he's one of the brilliant somebody ever in our community. So I'm really excited to really know who actually he is. I really admire that. And then the second thing is they kind of causing those kind of people very hard to find. When they are involved in something, our people say if you have your knife or your car light, if it cut you, you still go back and take that car light and carry it. This is the kind of people we have today, like Mr. or Professor Zao. The man is down to us. If he just love this CDC government, so I can say beyond all doubt. It doesn't matter what they have to offer him, what they will offer you, what they don't want to offer. He just loves them. And he just want to do whatever he can do to just get them right. But the problem we have, my personal opinion, it's like somebody say, I'm a Christian. But when they have life issue or problem, then they go to West Johnson to find solution. That's the problem the CDC government faces. They got all the educated people to consult whenever they have anything that they want to understand, like the press, there are other good people out there that know something better. But they show that back to those people and go to people that will mislead them to seek information. And those information people definitely can't get it anywhere. Instead of changing their mind around to say, oh, now we try this one, it doesn't work. Let's try the other one. They're still doing the same old thing. They got all the Google people backing them, talking for them every day and night, but they don't want to turn to them when they need any help, like administrative advice and other things. So this is the problem. I don't see anything wrong with the club or not being in Liberia by now, but it's just because those people just see they got to say that they're old school and new school not the same. That's the kind of funny thing they are doing. These guys are old school. Let's just get ourselves surrounded by young people and see what we can do. The young people, if they're not productive, the whole people can make them their own mistake. For me, I have my personal life. All my friends are all old people because I want to learn from them. I don't get common friends. I don't get easy friends who are the same age. But my real friends are people that are older than me, maybe 15 years or something, because I want to learn. So that is probably the CC government has. They got all the good people that can build it up, but they don't want to look to them. That's how I just feel. But Prof, I really appreciate what you've been doing for Liberia.
Thank you.
I pray that God continue to bless you to do what you keep doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Thank you very much.
All right. You know, there are some people who don't even talk about their doing, and sometimes, you know, as a facilitator, as an anchor, sometimes when I see some of the tweet, some of the comment, that for nothing, professor, they're like, oh my goodness, out of freedom of speech, but people got to speak. You can't sanction people's voices. I can be one. I can be in two places at the same time, question people's views, their opinion, but people need to go out there to look and see for themselves. Let's come to the issue here. We were just talking about it in the last maybe 45 minutes before close up here. I was wondering, Liberia Public Radio is reporting this evening one of the biggest civil society group in Liberia. In fact, we are trying to reach out to them to call to bring them in. The group now is calling call for Senator Vanny Sherman to be removed from the Senate committee, you know, as a head of the Judiciary Committee. And we're talking here as well, Professor, to get your take. I'm not sure the conversations as an alternative group, the Council of the Collaborative Party, what are we members of the four estates, the civil society, as Per George put it, the Liberian people are questioning their political leaders, even their supporters. What are your plans? What are the alternatives that you want to bring to government? You know, open up for us. How are you going to create jobs? Don't just tell us things that we want to hear, or because we say we don't agree with this government. Where is the transparency? How do you intend to downsize government instead of increase the size of government? If you take control tomorrow, what would be the fate of the thousands of supporters? Would they be accommodated to government? And if they will be, what are they bringing to the table? Or is that a political reward you're going to give them? Those questions are yet to be answered. We are not having those sort of questions. So what are we taking off the table and what are we trying to replace it? Why don't we have the guts to have this sort of conversation to want good government? It will profess that there must be good governance in the country.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's a challenge, you know. Even you know, our whole body politics has to change. You know, Nigeria was very intentional in developing its own political future, where they, you know, broke up the country into Democrats and what was the other group. Yeah, but the thing about our society is that it's so polarized. People create political parties not because they have any intention whatsoever to win an election. People run for presidencies not because they have any intention to run as, you know, to become president. They know that they're not going to win, but they put a name so that the name can be heard among the many names. So that when the government is being formed, the president will say, you know what, this guy was a presidential candidate for this other political party, so let me bring him my government. So that's what they do. So as a result, you know, generally political parties have to do nothing in Liberia to win the people's support. The only thing they have to do maybe basically find some money, bribe a couple of people, buy some votes, lie to the people, deceive the people with so-called investments, go into a village and you build a school, or you don't provide any teachers, go into a village, you erect a hand pump, but don't show them how to use the hand pump effectively. So those are all the kind of games the politicians play on the people. So you don't expect them to come and espouse any kind of program. They don't have programs. They don't. Most political parties in Liberia don't even know what they're going to be doing the next day. You check it out. How many of those political parties have had a convention since the last election, since 2017, 2018 elections? How many of them had a convention?
Including your party as well?
Including my party. My party, there's a push within the party right now to take us to conventions. We need to have a convention. We need to have a convention. So there's a lot of push to do that. But I would tell you one difference between my party and the other political party. At least we are functioning. We have a functioning structure. We meet, we discuss, and we know what we're doing. For some of the other political parties, they just don't exist. You know, and it's sad. You know, and that's one of the reasons that I'm so deeply involved with education in Liberia, because I think that's one way we can defeat it. We can handle this problem. On Friday, I'll be speaking to a cross section of my giving at the official launching of my high school in Kakata. And as I was thinking about it, one of the themes I'm going to be speaking on is about creating this awareness of the relationship between the politician and me as a citizen. I'm not referring to myself. I want to invite young people to begin thinking about the relationship between a politician and you as a young person. What do you expect of that politician? Do you want him to solve your problem of the moment, or do you want him to solve societal problems? And as he tries to solve societal problems, you benefit from it. Those are the things that we need to move our people towards, to realize that it shouldn't always be about them. It should be about the society, and to hold politicians' feet to the fire. Now, look, I don't want you to give me $10 today. I don't want you to bring a cup of rice to me. I want you to do what? I want you to work with central government to make sure that the high school in my community is well staffed, that the hospital in my community is well equipped and well staffed, that the roads in our communities are, you know, in good condition for us to pass by. And unless, you know, we can train young people to start to think that way, I mean, we are up for trouble. I tell you the last thing. So I'm getting my school is going to have the official launching program beginning tomorrow and Friday. Now, when you guys, all of us here went to school, we play football, we play basketball, the rest of it. If we were to go on camp, we put our little money together, bring a couple of rice for each of us, and then we cook and eat. Now in Liberia, the kids expect somebody to come from above and do it for them. Now with that kind of mindset, they make themselves vulnerable to unscrupulous politicians. The politicians know that they always want something, so they just come there and give it to them, and then take the power. That's sad. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Let me hold you there. We were talking to Pat George, Mr. Carlson. So we want to welcome you in the house of LPR this evening. One of our valuable followers. Welcome. Pat George.
Yeah.
You listen to a professor. He said he have a structure, but the other side of the eye, it doesn't. How can we put that on the radar and validate?
No, I would tend to agree with Professor Zaro on this issue. And you know, Mr. So these are some. Today, I will have some similar conversation with somebody. I said, Liberians, we have to change the culture. I said, the only thing that you can tell, we are very good at begging. And I told the person, I said, look, if people beg, I said, if any man beg constantly, you don't have no self-esteem. And I said, because I speak, because people don't like the way sometimes I say things. I'm poor. But I feel very embarrassed to go sit down to someone's office all day to beg for $5. I'm not sick. And these are the issues we're talking about. And I want political leaders to take this issue head on. We should start telling our people begging would not improve your life. You have to get trained in order to improve your life, in order to maintain your dignity. If you come to me every day, I gave you $5. Do you think I have respect for you? I may lie for you. I may sit and drink with you, but I don't have no respect for you. I want to pretend. And these are the hard conversations for me. I'm ready to take on Liberians. We have to stop this thing. And our leaders, because if we are not questioning our leaders, as Professor, these unscrupulous people will continue to use the people. As I told you, why the Press Union of Liberia cannot organize symposium to call political leaders to come and address issue? How are you going to solve the issue tomorrow if you are given state power? What are your recommendations? The big organization here, then this several group, this and that. Why they don't organize it and call these people? Because if Professor Zara is talking to me and I ask him a question, I will start getting a sense of Professor Zara, where he going tomorrow. But we don't do these things. Then we tend to blame all the voters. No. The people in the street there, you have taken the lead. I got this organization. So I'm supposed to want get the information and pass it to the people down there. Call people. Look, you are the Minister of Finance. We're having this breakfast. Come and address us today. Tell us, how do you think government can generate more revenue? Nobody doing it. The minister go to one radio station, he talked there, that's it. At all. Why you people cannot organize yourself in the rural community? Go maybe say, look, we invite this leader up the Grand Leader or Maryland, come and speak there. We'll have people. Let people come, settle the question, and then listen to you. You could say there's a breakfast club. We're going to this morning. This leader will come there and speak to us. But they are not doing it. And as per, look at the other day, I know Rainbow Pooch. Now, one other group said they organize a political group.
The 11
parties. They're going election. They didn't win one seat. I don't know what country even they participated in. How can you call? How can you say those people are political institution? They are political institution on paper, and as Professor Zabo said, they only do it to get piece of the pie at the end of the day. Even if they have 5,000 people as far, they're not going to do anything for those people. They are only there for themselves. That's why you see they go, oh, we are organizing the political party. For one. So when they say there's this issue, oh, we all got to be at the table. We got to have seat at the table. We got to hold discussion. But what are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? Here is the thing I was telling someone today again. The issue of taxation in Liberia, we have to start looking at it because we have been used to the thing from Tottenham time up to this time. Government must do everything. But when you ask someone, you got a zinc horse, yes. What is the real estate tax you pay the government every year? They don't know. They don't even show you. But yet, but this brings our 5, 6 children, they are in government school. And they are demanding that government must provide everything for those children to go to school. So as a parent or someone else, what is your contribution? I'm saying we should go to we should start looking at different taxation in Liberia. If we say beer is so popular, we all drink beer, then let potential the beer to go to school or education. Let put fast on cigarette to go to or healthcare. These are the things we should be talking about. But how many politicians want to discuss the issue?
Let me hear you there. Missing. Missing, are you there?
So,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Before you get in here, which of these political institutions, you know, I hosted this Rainbow Coalition, what his name? Regina Goodrich and Dr. Jeremiah Wompi. And that was the same question. Policies, which of these are policy-driven or policy-oriented? Everybody just come and just throw something out there and people just grab it. Nobody asks questions. We agreed the Goliath in the house with the CBC government. And it comes back to the point here. Are we holding these people accountable? Because we didn't do that. We never had the detailed, extensive conversations then when they were in the opposition and get us, and we all want now. Now these people put together now, I see CPP 4 parties, and you have 11 to Rainbow Coalition. I don't know what the heck the rainbow is hanging, whether over Liberia or wherever it is. Some of them, they don't even have offices. You will never go outside of Monrovia and see all of these parties here to have an office with a flagpole bearing the emblems of their political institution. For God's sake, what makes you a political party? You know? So it's just a risk dealing with all of these people that we'll be having from time to time. It is a risk. Will there be any change? Will anybody take the bull by the horn to ask these people what they really stand for? What are they? What actually they are trying to offer? What they want to bring to the table? And that's why some of them, when you call them, they don't want to come, because these are questions they try to avoid.
Mr. So, in my purview, there is no political party in Liberia.
A social club.
I said it from the background that there is nowhere in the world, in a democratic republic, where you find a standard bearer that is a standard bearer perpetually. So long he's alive as a member, he's a perpetual standard bearer of a political party, especially in the democratic world. When you go in the democratic world where you got political parties, you may be a standard bearer today for this election. You may not be a standard bearer tomorrow. Next election, somebody else could be to the pool. But look at all the political parties in Liberia. When has the standard bearer changed? LP, it was bronze until he died. UP, Joseph Boyka, he lost last one. They went to another convention, but he is, and he lost this. CDC, George, we are all alone. It goes back to tell us that, listen, until I think 2011, when he ran as a running mate. But you go back to look at our political entity. And I think people need to sound and join what their ideologies suit. We all have priority the same way. But join what ideology suit and for the cause of that ideology. That's what makes you a person. Not because your idea is attacked, mean that everybody must agree with it. And if they don't agree with me, then I mean you're not a part of to do. But I believe that Liberia doesn't have a political party yet. You got ruling party. Yeah, I agree. We got somebody in a position. You got ruling party, yeah, but we don't have a political party, no political entity. Like you say, there is no viable, nowhere I can point and say in the 15 counties, this is my political structure. This is my political structure in all 15 counties. So we got a problem. And then people talk about you can blame the citizen. No, the problem is the government is not what the citizen is educational rights. Democracy is not for the ignorant. It's not for the illiterate. Democracy is for the knowledgeable. Those who are educated. If you're not educated, you can understand democracy. To understand democracy, you must have a level of education. To know what your rights are. To be able to stand on and say, this is what I'm looking for. The government, all government since 1847 up until now, has refused to educate the poor because of the fear that if the people know, they will try to follow the right thing, to do the right thing. So our people are kept in the blindness and in the situation where if you can't afford to pay for it, you can't learn it. There are more private schools in Monrovia than you find government school. I dare anybody to challenge me to that. There are more private high schools in Central Monrovia, in Bruce Island, in Beansville, then you can find any government school. More private, every one of them, elementary, junior high, and senior high school. There are more private schools in those areas. You find any. Even in, let's go in Magibi, there are more private who must give you the farm school. What are we telling? What is our government telling the people? If you can pay for it, you're not doing it. Then I say we need to increase. We need to talk about taxes. You can't talk about taxes. I tell you, educate the people on the taxes and what the taxes are used for. And the way you can educate people is to let them go to school. Open high schools that the people can go to. Qualified school. Not school people who are not well trained. I'm sorry, sometimes when it comes to education, it tickles my face.
Okay. So now, Professor, this civil society group calling for the removal of Councillor Vani Shemont, we all know the story. How far will this thing go? Or is just group of civil society leader tries to get media attention to create a narrative? How far will it go? Will he even get the guts? If it is a genuine thing, that's why they have an ethics committee in both houses of government. If there's any violation, they have the right to launch an internal investigation. I don't know why. I remember Charlie Renko's here. You remember Charlie Renko from New York? There was some sort of violation, and it was put on the floor, and he was removed. I don't know how many times those things our people to aggressively pursue one of their own when there is a potential violation. Vani Shemont, this is the guy who is the head of a judiciary committee. Give me a break.
Yeah, you also want to be very careful, because if we draw cues from what's transpiring in the United States, Marjorie Greene Taylor, the Republican Party has said that she was elected by her people, and only her people have the right to remove her from Congress. Even the Republican Party will not even remove her from the committee. So those are very delicate issues. You gotta be very careful how you navigate the
committee.
No, but they were able to scribble.
The Republican did not do it. The Republican did not do it. The Republican leadership was asked to do that. They were supposed to do it, but they wouldn't even do it. So the Democrat was forced to bring it to the floor, and then they got her off the committee. But that's not how it's done usually. And so you got to be very careful about how you extend those kind of things to our country. The very, very nascent democracy. But I think here's what I would say to you concerning those issues. I would encourage every Liberian who finds himself in the position that Vani Shemont finds himself in today to put the interest of the country ahead of himself and think about his action and the consequences of his action. If I was Councillor Shemont, with the legal experience and knowledge he had, I would be thinking about, standing up as my own counsel and filing a case against the government of the United States of America, so as to exonerate my name if I do believe that I'm not guilty. Otherwise, I will spare the Liberian people of the embarrassment that the people of Liberia have to go through right now. That a sitting senator, he has been characterized the way the U.S. State Department has characterized him, is an embarrassment to the people of Grand Cape Mon County, the people of the Republic of Liberia. I would just encourage him to really think about it, and step aside, and focus on clearing his name. Focus on clearing his name.
How? In which way? In which context?
Well, I think Vani Shemont has a case to go and present. Look, you got to understand that in as much as things happen in Liberia, there are some bigger fish who the West could go after. But countries like the United States and Great Britain and other countries, they're not interested in going after some of those people because those people are tied to them in so many ways. You had a family that sent the whole Nukar bankrupt. How is that person named now on the list of people who are corrupt and damaging Liberia?
So we raise our own alligators, and those alligators are eating or not.
But Mr. So the Vani Shemont issue, something Professor said I would do agree, but something where he going on the other side, no. Here's the thing here. This is just a simple case. Civil society don't need to raise any issue. Senator Menendez was chairman on the Foreign Relations Committee for the Democrats when he was involved in that bribery scandal. The Democrat tried to tell him to step down. As soon as he said no. So what did they do? Ask him to leave, to step down as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. Then he will go through his process. Now, I heard already from the House, from member of the House, that the chairman has already hired lawyers in the state to represent him. Good. So, all Professor said, all the chairman need to do is to say, to tell his colleagues, I am stepping down while my investigation is going on. When it's complete, when I'm generated, I will come by if you want me to take my chairmanship. It's just something honorable to do. No need to create all the noise. But then here's the issue here. This civil society, it's a selected thing they are doing. Where they been? When we have all these people, they are no one more Dickey. They profess like a man who can say he was born, he was naturalized Liberian. They don't ever raise any issue. No, these are the issues sometimes with so many people in Liberia, so many organizations. If you say you want to be transparent, you want to be honest, then don't create rooms that people will start looking at you. And these are some of the things they're doing. You come now, you say, oh, because some House members said that Venetian should step aside. So some people within the Senate have already raised the issue.
This sort of comparison we always try to inject, which of course is worth talking about. It didn't happen yesterday, so it can happen now. How do we really forge ahead as a nation?
Well, we got something in law this one started deciding. So we have always gave something example to something that happened before. But if this organization they are seeing and someone is saying, yeah, we should start a new course. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we say we're going to start a new course, then why wait to go after certain people and other people you don't go after them in the same line? We are here talking about Fanny Sherman. The other day we were talking about Samboka, although we'll come back to him again. We're still talking about him. So if we say that things went bad in the past and we want to correct it, then we have to be honest and sincere to start that conversation. But when it happens to a certain individual, you don't say anything. Then when it happens to other individual, that's when you come to talk. And that's the issue I have with most of the organization. If we see the Senate should be there, people who in the Senate now should be of clean character, I think half of the people in the Senate will have to go.
You have no Senate.
I tell you. Okay. So then where do we start from? Where do we start from? You got men like Abu say, oh, I ate the people money. We say, okay, no problem. That's not good.
You know, this Liberia conversation can give people artificial 2A to the extent that you can't want to talk. I don't know. It's just horrible. Hopefully, at some point in time, I don't know how we're going to get to we will get to the finishing line. But I think I believe the civil society or the civilian population should be able to play a really bigger role in this whole thing here, because let me see here. George, let me just get off here. I think having a little issue here. To play a bigger role here. Messi, are you hearing us?
Yeah, I'm hearing you also.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know it's a little 10 after 10. So I will soon be
Mr. So, let me tell you about the. Go ahead. You want to come
so, yeah, on this issue of Councillor Sherman, if the legislatures have not said anything about it, and if those who have said something have written to the president pro tem, we or to whoever they need to write to, we are in a situation where it's just a cover-up of the different optics. And I say this to mean that if Nigeria needs to develop a moral clause to public office, it must be done by the people and imposed on the leaders. So with the coming to bear this issue by the civil society, it's only if the leadership of the state makes it an issue and decided to consider it. Like everyone has said, it is incumbent upon the individual himself to look at his own morals and say, listen, this is affecting my career and I need to. Now, there's two things. Is he stepping down from the position of being chairman on the judiciary, or is he stepping down and stepping aside, putting his representative responsibility and just saying, listen, I'll be here, but consider me not active? What is it that he's doing? Because if he's not representing people, then he shouldn't get paid. So as this, if we're looking at all these little important issues, we should know that it takes a man to want to clear his name and make himself a spectacle.
Okay. All right.
That is the problem we got.
Miss, I just want to say something there. This like president has her own rules, and if they are saying,
I've been reading the rules.
Yes. Now, if we are saying that Vanish Sharma should step aside as head of the judiciary, it doesn't mean that he's stepping from his senatorial position, but because he's the head of the judiciary, so he will step aside from that chairmanship while pending his investigation. None of us have the right or have got the right to call Vanish Sharma to resign as senator. Only the people of Cape Mount and his political party.
That's right.
Right.
That's where now the political party is supposed to come in.
That's a crucial thing about it. All right. This is a headache. Yeah. We're going to be wrapping up here. We're going to be going to you. I know everybody had a long day. We're still in the middle of the week. People have other things to do. Interestingly, Sunday, I hope the team going to be here. I had a conversation with one of the senators, newly senator-elect, Senator Jonathan Sebwood, aka Boy Child of River G. Hopefully, if things move as pledged, as promised, he will be our guest here on Sunday. The transitions of footballers getting involved in politics, and what is he taking to the table, what he hopes to bring to the table. We will see that sort of bipartisan, or there's some sort of resentment coming. All of those things we're going to be talking about. Senator Borchers will be here hopefully on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's wrap it up here this evening here. Everybody seems exhausted, myself, for us to go home. Well, today is Thursday.
No.
Crazy. Today's Wednesday. What I'm going to be here tomorrow afternoon here. What do you think going to pop up this coming before next weekend? Every day get its own drama here. Will we have another scenario, something that's going to change the whole talking point here again? You guys? Professor, what are you hearing from your end?
Nothing.
Any reshuffle coming in out or what? Or dismissal or whatever?
I know the president is doing an evaluation of his ministers, and maybe based on the evaluation, he might decide to call Mr. George to go home and work for his government. Who knows?
No, I'm not competent to work for the pro government. I will go and do my little plumbing job.
Okay.
But Professor Zhao, anyway, but Mr. So, anyway, but the senator will be coming here because the last time when they were having the hearing when the guy from the revenue authority was there, something was mentioned. And I took note of it. So when he come, I'll be happy to answer him. So
keep that. Yeah,
yeah,
keep that profile question.
Yeah.
I had a very successful conversation with him, and I think he's media friendly. He was on focus on Liberia. He's going to be going on across Africa with Lofa Julius as well. I think he opened his calendar, so that's quite interesting. And I hope all of our political leaders they will try to do that, because I think they need to come closer. Okay, well, gentlemen, anybody have a point to mention before I let you go?
Let me just say this. I'm waiting to see the response from Vanishaman political party on this issue.
If you get one, let me know.
But if they don't speak, we'll continue to call them out. And also, I want Senator Yomlin Kanga to speak on the issue with Musa Belete also, to address the issue. Will they ask Musa Belete to step aside while painting the court hearing?
Do you have a friend with Liberty Party? We have one Liberal Progressive here. I call before and after the election. Nyambli Kanga, there are folks, they don't. In fact, missing. Will you get answer? Professor, you think Liberty Party or Vanish Lemon Party will speak?
No, they're not going to speak. They're not going to speak. The first thing about those people is that they're not politicians, like those leaders of Liberty Party and the rest of it. They're not politicians. If they were a politician, they wouldn't be doing some of the things that they are doing. As a politician, every opportunity to be in the press should be embraced. Because you are selling yourself, you are marketing yourself. When I see people call themselves politicians, they are shy of the press, they're running away from the press, I'm saying, no, you're not a politician.
Is he still a party chairman? Moloba Molu is still a party chairman for CDC?
Yeah. Yeah.
He sends them waiting for a resignation.
The question is on purpose.
Listen. But here's the thing. It may be. I don't think, one of the problems we have is that people take people literally. And that's an issue. You know that. When a man
no.
All right, gentlemen.
Don't go there.
Gentlemen, we'll leave it there for the rest of the evening.
Right there.
I want to thank you, all of you, so much for being part of our tonight's program. Again, Professor, we say happy belated birthday and thank you for all the things that you are doing for our community as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there we go. We say happy birthday to our professor, and for all of the
12 plus 12. So how do we figure this out? So basically, we can say 12 divided by this 4 is 3. So we're going to multiply the numerator by 3. 12 divided by this 6 is 2. We'll multiply the numerator n by 2. And 12 divided by 12 is 1. So we just multiply the numerator over there by 1. So we have 7n. So now we have, on top, we have 15n plus 2n plus 7n over what? 12. Because here we just have to add the numerators and keep the denominator. So we have 15 plus 2 is 17. 17 plus 7 gave us 24, and divided by 12. And when we divide this, our answer is going to be.
Well, there you have it there, that Professor Ase said about Zawolo, a senior contributor of the Liberia Popular. Probably we need to talk to him behind the scenes, if he can even take 30 minutes to refresh people's brain. This guy is being extraordinary. To some people, they don't talk about the things that they do, I don't know why, but hey, sometimes your work speaks for itself, and that's what our brother Manu was calling here. Leaving from here to go help and teach and mentor our teachers to prepare them, to prepare teachers in turn to prepare students for major public exams. It's extraordinary out of his own volition. And that's something commendable. We want to thank him so much for all of the services he ran up. I'm Alfonso Zienso. Join us here hopefully Sunday. We're going to be having Senator Boy Charles, Jonathan Sebut, a former soccer legend, now senator. 3 or 4 times he contested. Finally, he hit the Powerball. So he's going to be joining us here, if all goes well, on Sunday right here on the Liberia Public Radio. I want to take a late break, and I'll be right back. We're going to be wrapping up for the rest of the evening.
Are you looking for a program to promote your business, products, or services? Then look no further. The Visit is your trust for you. It's a 30 minutes program with Liberia Public Radio TV. On The Visit, we promote your businesses, discover sites, showcase your products, and tell your stories. Join me, Diana, calling the Liberia Public Radio every Wednesdays and Fridays, 1 p.m. or 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Visit, bringing everything as it is.
All right, that's Diana Colita with The Visit. It's going to be an extraordinary program because it goes right into the people's backyard, to their porches or whatever they are, to discover some of the potentials in Liberia's entrepreneurial things that they are doing. So we can't just be talking politics. There are Liberians that are doing some good things. There's a way that we need to get them out. So The Visit with Diana Collie is on LPR. We're going to be exploring outside of Monrovia. We hope just the internet system, like outside of Monrovia, works pretty well, and that's something she's going to be doing. We're going to bring some of those natural sites and some of the good things, the businesses, those entrepreneurs, and all of that. We're going to be bringing them. Until then, folks, every good thing must come to an end. If you have not subscribed with us yet, search us on YouTube. Liberia Public Radio channel on Facebook, Liberia Public Radio, LIB Messenger. I subscribe so that you can get a notification. I want to thank all of you so much. Mama G, thank you for chipping in. It's better than late. Don't get tired. We'll keep talking what we are doing, but I will just call for civility in our conversation with the hope that these politicians will listen to us. But all of them, they are the same people, believe me or not. They are the same, and we need to question them. Even people that we profess or people that we think we support, not everything they say is we should say yes to it. We must question them as to how they're going to do it, not just yay and agree with it, because tomorrow they're going to tell you what we thought. It is not like that. Once they are on Capitol Hill, that's a different game. So we are sick and tired with these empty promises. We need some pragmatic and policy-driven solutions, something tangible that we're going to be talking on, not a superstitions or a session or I will. No more future. We are in the future. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening, and I have a great time. Thank you for tuning in here with us here. Please, the virus is still real. Observe our protocol. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Everybody, everything's going bad. The situation getting worse. Everybody in the country getting mad. Dishonesty, poverty on the rise. The leaders them making empty promises. Promises with no damn strategies. Yeah, this is better days, money in the pockets. Oh, after holidays only for the bosses. Yeah, there's a better days, money in your pockets. Holidays only for the bosses.